Hello and welcome to MentorDaljit's Tech Academy. In our learning journey of web development using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Today we are going to start with section 2, CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And if you are watching this playlist from the beginning, you know that till now we have only discussed about the HTML. From the very beginning we have seen that how we can use heading tags, various text formatting tags, various attributes, how to create lists, hyperlinks, then images, inserting audio and video files, inserting tables in our HTML document, and how we can create forms. HTML is basically used to create the content of our web page. So it means जो structure ਅਸੀਂ अपनी website web page ਦਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ HTML ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ design ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. The very first website which was created by Sir Tim Berners-Lee in 1991 was something like this. It was purely written in HTML. At that time, he was not aware about the use and the need of CSS. With the web designing using HTML, they have realized the need of CSS. Designing a website only using HTML becomes really frustrating and time-consuming. On the other hand, CSS is completely a different language. It is a rule-based language that works with HTML. It is used to style our web pages. It makes our web pages pretty. Now, if you look at this picture, you will understand what is CSS and what is HTML. HTML is only used to design the skeleton of our website, while CSS makes its look perfect, dressing up color combinations and everything that can make it beautiful. So CSS de naal assi ye kam karte. I hope with this little introduction you can answer that why we need CSS. CSS actually determines the visual structure and the layout of our website, and it tells our browser that how to display those HTML elements. So HTML specifies what to display and CSS tells how to display. CSS creates a beautiful front end and creates a great user experience. With CSS, we can save a lot of our time while styling our web pages. Only by making the changes in our single file, we can create the changes in our all web pages. So it controls the complete layout of our web pages just at once. Moreover, it is also used to create the consistent look of our website. First, let's understand what is CSS rule. Because CSS is a rule-based language, so we need to understand its rule. So rule number 1 that you need to remember is that how you can apply. So there should be some selector where you want to apply the style, and after that there should be some property that you want to change and its value. So if you want to change multiple properties, after the semicolon, you can specify another property. In the same way, you can specify property 3, property 4, and so on. So this is the basic CSS rule that we need to remember. For example, if you want to style only heading 1, then style heading 1 by giving it color light blue. Then we need to change its color property and give it value light blue and then put the semicolon. So this is how we can do it. So H1 is the selector where we want to apply the style, color is the property, and after colon we are adding the value to that property. Very soon we are going to implement this in our HTML document. But before that, remember that there are 3 ways of adding CSS to our HTML document. The number 1 method is called Inline. Inline CSS where we write the code with the tag itself. And number 2 is called Internal CSS. In the internal CSS, we write the code inside our HTML document. And number 3 is external CSS, where we write the code of CSS in a separate file and save it using .css extension. Let's dive in and learn that how we can add CSS in our HTML document using these 3 different ways. With this, I'm going to create a new file. This is my lesson 12.html and I'm going to bring the boilerplate using exclamation mark. Now let's change the title of our web page. This is CSS. Now let's write something in our body section, put some content in our body section. I'm going to start with H1. Here I'm going to write the first heading 1, and after the heading I'm going to write some paragraph, and then I'm going to add another heading. This is heading 1 again, and going to add another paragraph with lorem in this. That's it. So this is my web page that I have designed. So I have placed some content using HTML, heading 1, then paragraph, heading 1, and then again paragraph. Now let's style our web page using CSS. So inline CSS de which we will start with the tag where we want to apply the style. So let's assume I want to apply style to the first heading 1. So here I will write style is equal to, and do you remember that our rule number 1, this is selector, that is h1, and after that we are using style is equal to property colon value. So which property you want to change? Let's assume I want to change the color of the text, and I'm going to change the color of the text to red. So I will write here red. If you want to change another property, then you can put the semicolon and then second property. So for the time being, I'm only using one property, color, that is red. So ASE color the value जो है h1 में apply कर देती. You can check in the output that the first heading has turned red. So this is using CSS. So that's very simple. If you want to apply style to our paragraph, a particular paragraph, for example, I want to apply style to my second paragraph, then what I can do is I can write here style is equal to, now what style you want to apply here, so color, give some value here, blue. So that's it, change it to blue, save it, and this is how you can set the style. So this is how you can apply inline style. A second method of applying CSS to our HTML document. For applying the second method, I'm going to remove the code that I have used for applying inline CSS. So उस code ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ remove कर रहे हैं. Now let's understand how we can use internal CSS. Internal CSS add ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ inside the head section you need to use style tag. So style tag ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਅਸੀਂ CSS ਦੀ coding ਲਿਖਾਂਗੇ. For example, if you want to apply style to heading 1, so h1, then you need to give the property color and then give some value. Let's assume this is red, and this is how you can apply the style. Only by using it once, I am able to put the style on both h1 tags which are inside this page. Just by changing color once, I am able to change the colors of both the headings. So दोनों headings the color जो ने वो change हो गए. अगर suppose करो if I will add another heading in this, let's assume this is testing, and this will again come in red color. So what does it mean? It means कि जिन्ने भी तुसी h1 tag इस page के अंदर use करोगे उन्ना सब दे ऊपर style implement हो जाएगा. This is the benefit of using internal CSS. So internal CSS ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ change ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, then the complete web page ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਉਹ tag जितनी बार भी use होएगा उस दे ऊपर वो style implement हो जाएगा. So inline CSS particular that tag ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ काम करती है, and internal throughout your web page ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ वो चीज़ काम करती है. Now if you want to change the color of the paragraph, then you can use p tag. So selector can be any HTML element. For this class, consider that we can use all HTML tags as selectors. So paragraph tag के लिए ਅਸੀਂ p use कर रहे हैं, and now I'm going to change its color to blue, and let's change its background color as well. For changing the background color, another property that you can use is background color, and change its color to beige. You can see the change in the output. So this is how you can use internal CSS. So internal CSS use ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ you have to use a style tag inside the heading section, and then you have to follow the same rule, selector, property, colon, value. This was the second method of adding CSS to our HTML document. Now the third method जो ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ use ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਉਹ ਹੋਏਗਾ external CSS. External CSS use ਕਰਨ ਲਈ we need to create CSS file separately. So एक file create करांगे, new file, and save that file using .css extension. For example, I'm going to save this file as my style.css. So this is my CSS file, and in this file start writing the rules that you want to apply. For example, if I want to style heading 1, I have to write h1, then I have to change the color for the color, and I'm also going to give background color to my heading. So for that I'm going to pick yellow and that's it. So सिर्फ मैं H1 ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਹੀ style apply ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, but how can I link these two files? So जिस file ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ apply ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ CSS, so I'm going to put this in the comment. So CSS ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ comment ਦੇਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ, if you are familiar with C++, then you might be aware we can, so multi-line comments ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ C++ ਚ add ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, in the same way we can add comments in CSS. Internal CSS ਦਾ ਕੋਡ ਜੋ ਸੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾ ਲਿਆ ਹੈ. Now we can only see the content that we have placed using HTML. So ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਇਸ ਫਾਈਲ ਨੂੰ external CSS ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਲਿੰਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ. So inside the head section you have to use link tag. Link ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ relation, style sheet and href is the reference of your CSS file. So my CSS file is located in the same folder with the name mystyle.css. Now you can see this style has been applied to all the headings जो ਅਸੀਂ mystyle.css च specify ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ. heading 1 ਦਾ color brown ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ और ਉਹਦੀ background ਦਾ color yellow हो गया. So just we have to link our file and all the styles that you have written in CSS in external CSS that will get applied to your HTML document. So external CSS you can apply to your multiple files. For example, if you want to apply style to, let's assume, to my this lesson9.html, what you need to do is go inside the head section of that file, use the link tag, give the reference of your file, where it is located. This is mystyle.css. This is done. Now you can check there is no change because ਅਸੀਂ feedback form ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ h2 tag use ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, not h1. So I'm going to change this to h1 and see the effect of this h1 and save. Now you can check. So this file is also linked with mystyle.css. Now let's add another rule in our CSS file. So CSS file ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ rule apply ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ with the body tag. I'm going to change the background color of my file. Now let's change it to gray and save it. You can see this background has turned gray. In the same way you can check in our today's file, background has turned gray. So this is how you can make changes to multiple files just by writing a single line of code in your external CSS. I hope these 3 ways of adding CSS, inline, internal and external, all are clear to you and you have understood the basics of CSS, that how you can apply CSS to your web document. So keep learning, hit the like button if you have really understood these concepts. See you in the next lesson. Thank you.